Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. In the season that has already ended for the Warriors, we can see that young players stood out, and this has excited the Warriors executives. Mike Dunleavy Jr. wants to sign a future star through the NBA draft. Could the Warriors end up with one of the best prospects in the 2024 NBA draft? What happens this offseason for the Golden State Warriors will dictate both their immediate and long-term futures. General Manager Mike Dunleavy Jr. and his front office have their hands full with decisions to make about Klay Thompson, Chris Paul, Andrew Wiggins, and Jonathan Kuminga. Before doing anything with these players, the Warriors will be tasked with figuring out their plans for the 2024 NBA draft. Although many have called this year's draft weaker than those of the last few years, there are still a handful of intriguing names at the top of the draft board. One of those prospects that many teams are looking to get more information about is French forward Zaccharie Risacher. Roughly 6 feet 10 inches on the wing, Risacher is a crafty offensive-minded player who has a really strong feel for the game despite recently turning 19 years old. After the success Victor Wembanyama has had as the first overall pick out of France, many have been quick to label Risacher as the next Frenchman to make a splash in the NBA. Risacher, who many expect to be one of the first names off the board in June's draft, plays for JL Borg of the LNB Pro A. With Risacher still playing his season in Europe, Dunleavy and some other members of the Warriors front office were in France recently to get a closer look at the draft prospect. The European club sent out a picture of Dunleavy watching Risacher from the stands. In a total of 31 games with JL Borg this season, Risacher has averaged 10.1 points and 3.9 rebounds per game while shooting 43.6% from the floor and 34.9% from three-point range. He registered 10 points and 8 rebounds in front of Dunleavy and the Warriors front office. Although the Warriors are scouting Risacher, will they even have any chance to potentially snag one of the better players in this year's draft class? Warriors 2024 NBA draft position. If the Warriors are to have any chance of landing Zaccharie Risacher in this year's draft, they are going to have to get lucky with some ping-pong balls on May 12, when the NBA draft lottery takes place in Chicago, Illinois. Whether or not the Warriors get one of their only ping-pong balls chosen is something that could shake up the entirety of the 2024 NBA draft because Golden State is not supposed to keep their pick this year. The Warriors initially traded their 2024 first-round pick with top 4 protections to the Memphis Grizzlies in their 2019 trade for Andre Iguodala. This pick was then dealt to the Boston Celtics in the Kristaps Porzingis-Marcus Smart 3-team trade, followed by being shipped to the Portland Trail Blazers in last summer's deal for Drew Holiday. Dunleavy and members of the Warriors front office getting a closer look at Risacher is likely something they are doing for a couple of reasons. In addition to the slim possibility of ending up with a top 4 pick, the Warriors are expected to be active in trade talks. A potential trade involving Wiggins, Kuminga, Paul, or someone else could possibly result in the Warriors ending up with a lottery pick in this year's draft. It never hurts to get a look at some of the better players in the NBA draft, and that is exactly what Dunleavy is doing here with Risacher.